Hello everyone, my name is Mark Enting, and this is Unreal Engine 4. I'm creating a game. It's a roguelike game, and I want the world to be procedurally generated, because I guess that is the theme of roguelike games. You get one life, and when you die, you have to start from the beginning, from scratch, and the world is brand new, and you can discover a lot of new things. So here I have a labyrinth, and I have a starting point here, and then an exit at the end, and here's a path of rooms that are connected from the start to the end. Now, all these rooms are just blueprints. Each one of them is a blueprint. In fact, they are an instance of a blueprint within this labyrinth blueprint. So everything is handled with blueprints at this point, and it's honestly, this is in such pre-alpha stage that, I mean, this is just a prototype using really basic rooms that I can see through. But if I go inside, there are ceilings, and I can look below and above and from the side. So I could, if I wanted to, make a top-down game, if I wanted to. Or I could make, first-person shooter, or a third-person action RPG, which is what I would like to make, an action RPG. So let's get into some detail here. First of all, I want to just show you the most complicated part of all of this, which, if you're creating your own procedurally generated dungeon engine in Unreal Engine 4, you're really going to want to understand this code, or this blueprint. Okay, so this function here determines how to connect doorways together. Let me just go back into my labyrinth and show you what I mean here. So I have a room here, and this blue placeholder is a part of this red room, and the pink placeholder is part of these golden stairways, I guess, and they're connected together perfectly at those two placeholders. Whoop. Sorry, let me just change my camera speed here. So yeah, so all you have to do is create a blueprint of a room and add doorway placeholders, and then attach the instances of those doorways to an array in your constructor script. It's really simple. Anyway, back to this really complicated algorithm or equation. This is what everyone on the internet is trying to figure out right now. It's a problem in the Unreal Engine 4 forums, and I've seen one guy create a C++ solution, but no one has created an actual blueprint, and even the C++ solution is very limited in functionality. And what I did was I streamlined it. So you just you inject your room blueprint, child actor instance, a doorway that belongs to the room, to the child room. So that is also a child actor component reference. And then the parent doorway belongs to a parent room. So that means you already have a room generated, and you want to create a room that's attached to this room. Well, that new room is going to be a child actor inside of the parent room blueprint. So the location of your child room is referenced to the location of your parent room. So I don't need to reference the parent room, just the doorway inside of the parent room that I want to connect to. So I break apart those three references into transforms, which has a location, rotation, and scale. And then I proceed to combine rotators for the parent doorway. I pretty much flip the calculation of the parent doorway 180 degrees so that the room can connect to that doorway on the outside of the doorway, not the inside of the doorway. Then I combine that calculation with the child doorway. And then I combine that calculation with the child doorway location and subtract that calculation with the parent doorway location. It's so complicated. What that does is it pretty much after that I combine all of my calculations into another transform with a location, rotation, and scale, and then I push that back into my child room pretty much, and then that this new transform is applied on the child room, and the whole room is rotated inside of the parent room, which means that this golden stairway is a child of this 16 by 16 room, and this stairway is positioned in this doorway pretty much and attached to it. So if I were to move this parent room from its location, then the stairway would move with it along with everything else, but this golden room, the starting point, would not move because this room, this red room, is a child of the golden room. So that is how it works. Everything is a child of everything it's connected to, pretty much. So if I were to create a new doorway, let's say here, and branch off, create a new room on this doorway down here and branch off, then that new room, then I'd have two rooms as a child, this stairway, and a new room as a child of this red room. So I'd have children, per se. And that's pretty much how the labyrinth works. To get into more detailed, I generate my labyrinth here. First, I create, in this group, this top group here, I create an array of blueprint interfaces, which I called iRoom. And so let's see here, in my labyrinth I have a blueprint interface called iRoom, which just has two functions, set doorways and get doorways. And I also have, let's see, where are they? Sorry, it's been a while since I've looked at all of this. But I pretty much have properties that are inherited from this interface, I believe. I hope. Actually, I don't know what happens here. Here we go. Sorry. I have a room blueprint. It's just a normal blueprint, and then what I do is I create a a child blueprint class from my room blueprint. And this room blueprint inherits the iRoom interface. So if I go into my class class settings, you can see that it implements an interface called iRoom. So any new room that I create, like the red room and the blue hallway and the golden stairway, I have to literally right-click my room blueprint and create a new child blueprint class, and then construct the meshes for the actual room in that new child blueprint class. As you can see, I did that here under my rooms. Right here I have 3 rooms, and here's my start room. And I just pretty much created a floor and some walls. And if I look at my class defaults, I have some settings here. Max instances, so I only have 1 because this is the starting room, and the room type is starting room. And I can create a bunch of different types. I think this is actually this property is a structure. Structures are a thing in Unreal Engine 4. If I go back into my Labyrinth folder, you can see my room type enumeration. And there it is. So I can add more room types if I want to. Yeah, so I don't think that's actually a structure. But room instances is a structure. Why? Because I have to create an array of instances of my rooms and apply a count and apply min gen time, apparently, for some reason. Honestly, I don't know what I'm using this for yet. But yeah, let's go back into our room, and as you can see, the max instances is 1. If I go into my catacombs room, you'll see that my class defaults have 5 instances. So what happens is when I create my array here to generate a bunch of rooms, this array generates, for example, 5 instances in the array that represent this room here, because I want to create 5 instances of this room. So I create 5 instances in the array, and then so I create this large array that that holds a list of instances of these 4 room types, and then that array I work with to generate this path. So all I have to do is add a list of rooms to my labyrinth here. Right now I have 4 rooms: a starting room, a hallway, a golden stairway, and a red room, the 16 by 16 room. If I added more rooms, then the labyrinth would change. It would change shape and transform. But right now, since I only have pretty much 1 starting room and 3 other rooms that I can use to generate the labyrinth with, it pretty much just generates a path with 3 rooms and a starting point. Alright, so yeah, I create the array and then I generate the starting room in a function called generate room. In the generate room function, I pretty much add an instance of the room to the labyrinth, or to a parent room, and then I choose which doorway in this newly generated room to attach to the parent room, and then I reposition this newly created room to align to the doorway of the parent doorway. And then when I'm done, I attach more rooms to this room, this newly created room. So because of that, that attach rooms function, I'm pretty much just generating a starting room and then attaching one room to this one doorway, and then attaching another room to one doorway, and then attaching another room to one doorway, and attaching another room to another doorway, on and on and on until I reach the end. So at some point at the end, I'm going to have to create code that branches out, which in my generate labyrinth function, where I create, the first room, after that's done, I'm going to have to branch out in this completed loop, I guess, and generate more rooms. So that's a quick look at everything. It gets a lot more complicated. Like figuring out which doorway to use and figuring out which room to use. Like generate room. Sorry. I don't think that's a room. Get next room to generate. Yeah, this is going to be complicated because I have to figure out which room I need to generate. Is this a boss room? Does this room have a locked door? Will this room need a key to unlock a locked door further along the path, etc., etc. So this function here is going to handle all the artificial intelligence for picking a room. Anyway, that's all I can show for now. Stay tuned, guys, because I will be releasing more videos in the future.